G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And last week I introduced to you my 2005 BMW M3 that I bought for just $16,000. However, there's a catch, because the SMG transmission or automated manual gearbox is starting to die. So rather than spending an absolute fortune getting the SMG repaired, instead today me and Jack are going to try and drive the car from Wellington to Auckland to a place called HellBM, which can convert the SMG transmission into a normal 6-speed manual. Let's see if we can do it without breaking down. Right, so it's 6 AM on the morning that we're planning to drive to Auckland, and thankfully it made it to Jack's house no problem. But do you think it'll make to Auckland?
No.
No. Well, so far we have no cog of death and it is working just fine. So let's get on off to Auckland. The first hour went by without a hitch as we were mostly sitting in 6th gear on the motorway. We filled up with fuel in Sanson, but as we were halfway to the next town, Bulls, we struck our first SMG failure right in the middle of some roadworks. Right, SMG has now decided to get stuck in 6th gear, and we're in traffic. That's weird, now it's getting stuck in a gear rather than jumping out of a gear. Oh, for goodness sake. After letting it sit for a few moments, it came back and we tried to get to Bulls for breakfast, but just a few minutes later it packed up again. However, with a bit more faffing around, we made it to Bulls for a McDonald's breakfast 2 hours in, and then it was time for a driver change. And also, there are no cup holders anywhere in this car.
Yes.
Normally they have ones that pop out from over there, or pop out here, but there is no cup holders, so I guess
This is going to go everywhere.
You are the cup holder. Alrighty, so we're 3 hours in on one of the best driving roads in the country, State Highway 4. But unfortunately, we haven't really been able to exploit it so far because the transmission has been really playing up the hill there just before. We couldn't even get it to come out of neutral at one point. We were sitting on the side of the road and we tried like 4 or 5 times, it would not get into first gear. And then when we finally did get into first gear, we tried to change into second and it wouldn't change into second and went into a false neutral again. But when it's actually operating on song, it is quite an impressive transmission. The downshifts are fantastic, and when you put it in the sportiest setting, it shifts way faster than I can shift, that's for sure. Those shifts are quick, eh? I guess there's 3 things going for it. One is it does exactly what you want as soon as you ask it. It is very engaging to use because you can rev match it like a manual, and the upshifts are hard and snappy. You feel like you're involved in the drive. And the other thing that really impressed me too, you would think an automated manual gearbox would be really slow to kick down if you just have it in automatic mode like now. But floor it with the transmission in a higher setting and I think you'd be quite impressed. Like, that is a snappy downshift, and when it goes from like 4th to 2nd, it's even more impressive because it's just whoompa, and then you get to enjoy the excellent sound that is the S54. When it's on song, the SMG transmission is actually a deeply impressive gearbox, and unless you're DMO DJ, most people can't shift this quickly. Just take a look at how it launches from a stop up to 100 k's an hour. That was 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds, which is faster than a modern, more powerful and all-wheel drive Ford Focus RS. Not bad for a 25-year-old gearbox. But it does have its issues. Internally, it's just a normal 6-speed manual gearbox with a clutch, so that part of it is fine. The difference is there's no clutch pedal or H-pattern shifter. All the shifting actuation is done by hydraulics, and that's the part that breaks. The hydraulic pump, after 20 plus years, gets tired and struggles to provide the pressure to actuate the gears. The actuator itself gets sticky, and the sensors that tell the computer what gear it's in break, and it'll get confused and go into a fail-safe neutral. My M3 has all of these issues, and a scan with ISTA, BMW's dealer software, suggests a weak pump and a failing gear position sensor. In the last couple of weeks since I picked it up, it stopped in the middle of a roundabout, left me stranded in the middle of a tunnel, and done numerous slow and sketchy shifts, not to mention the ever-present warm glow of the cog of death. So rather than spending 10 grand plus on a new pump and sensors plus install, I'm taking it to a place in Auckland called HellBM, which specialises in BMWs, and they've done multiple conversions of E46 M3s from SMG back to manual. The process, which I will explain in next week's episode, really just involves taking out all the pumps and installing a clutch pedal, a master cylinder and a shift knob. And they've offered to do all that work for just $6,600, which is a lot less than the initial quote to fix the SMG, and I end up with a manual M3 in the process. Sounds like a bargain to me.
Returning to the road trip story, surprisingly, the rest of the Paraparas went without a hitch. But 5 hours in, after overtaking a car in third, the change into fourth failed halfway past them and we rolled all the way down the hill before pulling over for a picnic.
We've relieved ourselves in the bushes, taken some nice photos, and yeah, nothing to see here. No issues to speak of. Yeah, this was very intentional. It definitely did not pack up again. Okay, the moment of truth. In 1.
6 hours in, I tried to take some nice photos by a waterfall, and afterwards it failed again after doing some really slow upshifts, and then gave up after I tried to change into fifth.
And it's packed up again. We have no drive.
Well, there we go, breakdown number 4. It's like every hour it just completely packs up, eh?
Yep.
And you just have to stop, let it sit. Well, here we are, we're just about to join the Auckland motorway. I've been doing my best to not change out of 6th gear, but the good news is I can give you a fuel economy update. We're doing 9.4 litres per 100k. Just when I thought we could taste success, it packed up right in the middle of a busy Auckland intersection. But after some first gear action across a couple blocks, we arrived at Carl's Jr. and met up with Jack from K-Flash after 8 hours on the road.
So now the moment of truth. Can we make it the last 50 minutes across Auckland?
It had made it this far, surely it could get across the busy Auckland city centre to HellBM.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final moments of my E46 M3 as an SMG. And what a transmission it is. I am going to miss it. Come on, SMG! You've done 125,000 Ks. And in your final moments as an SMG, here we are. Oh, the amount of BMWs. Well, we know we're at HellBM because look at them all. Goodness me. Oh, there's an M3 there. Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
well, you've made it. So can an E46 M3 with a failing SMG make it 700 kilometers to Auckland? Yes, it can. After dropping the car off, we got picked up in Uber number 1, which was an automatic BMW 130i. In fact, it was the one I reviewed that convinced me to buy a 130i in the first place. And while driving through Albany, we coincidentally stumbled across Jack's old 535i, which now had black plates on it, and my old Lexus ISF, which was looking a little bit worse for wear, shall we say. And then we jumped into Uber number 2, my other friend Jack's 335D, and on to the very cramped Uber number 3, an Audi TT RS. Once dropped to the airport, we flew home back to Wellington, and in next week's episode, me and Angel will be flying back to Auckland to pick up my freshly manual converted E46 M3. So make sure you tune into that episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.